Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video we are going to be going over the Imperial, or not Imperial I should say, a Necromancer for Elsweyr. It's going to be a tank build, and Necromancers are a new class that dropped Elsweyr, and it has been relatively interesting tanking on this class. Now, I am an Imperial, as I said, Imperial Necromancer, but I am an Imperial at tanking. Nords are really good as well, so are Gonians. But I like the Imperial. It's a class that I've tanked on since, well, I guess since I started playing the game. I've always tanked on an Imperial. There for a long time, I actually did everything on an Imperial. Um, but anyways, on to the build. I have 19 points into Magicka, 31 into health, and 14 into stamina. I have 20.7k into max Magicka. I have 53k maximum health and 23.6k maximum stamina. I have basically 1.2k magic recovery, and my resistances are 30.5k spell resistance and 30.5k physical resistance. Wow. I did not notice that there was only a 3-point difference between the resistances. Well, alright then. I don't know how that happened. Anyways, boon I'm running is the Lord for more max health, and I'm using basic tri-stat food. Now, I guess we'll go ahead and get into the champion points. I have 23 into Warlord, 9 into Sprinter, 33 into Bashing Focus, 64 Arcanus, 64 Tenacity, 57 Shadow Ward, 20 into Tumbling. These right here don't really matter as much. I have 75 into Blessed, and then you can just spread out like I did for when I heavy attack with my sword and board, my lightning staff. I threw a couple points into here and then a couple into Master at Arms. But it's really not that important. Like, none of these points really matter as much. I have 22 into Ironclad, 47 into Spell Shield, 64 Hardy, 64 Elemental Defender, 54 Heavy Armor Focus, and 19 Quick Recovery. Well, I guess real quick, I should say that I'm not running a shield on this setup, so I don't have any points into Bastion. So if you were using like Bone Shield or something like that, you may want to throw a few points into Bastion. And depending on the monster set, you could take out points from Heavy Armor Focus and Spell Shield, and then put a few more into Ironclad and Quick Recovery and Bastion if you'd like. But due to the setup that we're running, in order to have the resistances that we have, we had to put quite a few into Heavy Armor Focus. So, sets. The monster sets that we're running is Chudan. We're running a medium infused helmet and a sturdy light shoulder for the Undaunted passives. Both enchanted with a tri-stack glyph, the helmet infused, and the shoulder sturdy. Now what this does is it's going to give us physical and spell resistance on the one piece, and the two piece is going to give us more max health, and it's going to give us major ward and major resolve at all times, increasing your physical and spell resistance. So one of the reasons why we're running this is because with this setup, I was trying to be a health tank, see how well it would perform on the Necromancer, because for those that were not playing back when Halls of Fabrication dropped, health tanks were pretty big then, so I just wanted to see how well a health Necromancer tank would perform, and it actually performed pretty well. And due to certain skills that we're using, we don't have major ward and major resolve, so this will give us that, and it gave us a little more max health. So if you're running something like Lord Warden, then you really wouldn't have to worry about running so many points into the CP alignment points that give you spell resistance and physical resistance. So you could take those points out then and move them around. But because Lord Warden just gives you more resources on top of your major ward and major resolve, if you're using the other skill. So now the first 5-piece set we are running is Ebon. We have an infused chest and legs, all with tri-stack glyphs, and then we have boots, waist, and gloves, sturdy with a tri-stack glyph on it. Now, if you want to increase your health higher, keep in mind your stamina will drop to around 20k, around 20k, and then the max magicka will probably be around 18k. If you're okay with that, I kind of like my pools a little around 20k. Um, but if you're okay with that, I mean, it's not going to hurt you any. You can just put max health on it, max health glyphs, and of course your max health you'll probably be looking at around 57k. After all that, it goes up quite a bit. Um, so the second 5-piece set that we are running is Plague Doctor. Now this gives us max health, max health. It gives us healing taken, and then 4,000 max health. Um, we're running sword and board. We're running an infused sword with a weakening enchant on it, a sturdy shield with a max stamina enchant on it, and a Plague Doctor lightning staff infused with a crusher enchant. Now, while playing on the PTS, I didn't always get a healer in the group, and depending on what I was running, I would swap out Eben for leeching. The health will drop a good bit, but you were still pushing within group. I was still having around at least 70,000 health when I would use the ultimate. So, if Plague Doctor, the reason why we're going to go ahead and run Plague Doctor on the jewelry and gold here, showing that off is because you can actually get this in gold jewelry. I know on the PS4 in a server, a gold ring will cost you around, you can find them for 30k, but for the most part they're around 50k or so for the necklaces and the rings. So it's not too expensive, but it is relatively expensive. Um, Honestly, probably the most expensive thing on here is the lightning staff. You can either farm that yourself or just purchase one. I mean, you shouldn't pay more than 100k for it. So everything else is relatively cheaper than that. So if you don't have a healer, like sometimes I did in the PTS, you can always swap out Eben for leeching. Leeching received a good little buff this patch. And what this does is it gives us max health, healing taken, max health, and when you take damage, you have a 20% chance to summon a cloud of leeching poison under the assailant. The cloud deals 1.4k poison damage every 1 second for 5 seconds, heals you for 100% of the damage caused. A cloud can be created once every 5 seconds. This can help with some heals, but it's not, honestly, with the skills that we're using. I found that I didn't even need the heals, the poison heals from leeching, so it really was not that important. And then another set that you can replace Plague Doctor with this. It's Warrior Poet's Shield. It gives us max health, more spell resistance, physical resistance, max health, and you give minor toughness at all times, increasing your max health by 10%. So you can, until you farm up your Eben, you can put Warrior Poet, jewelry, or weapons, body. You can mix and match this however you like. Eben comes from Crypto Hearts. You can farm it on normal because we're wearing it on the body. Plague Doctor drops in Deshawn, and Warrior Poet is from Vardenfell. And of course, Leeching comes from Imperial City Prison. So these would be the 4 sets that I would mix and match for this kind of build. That's just me. Another good set that you could run, if you wanted to, would be, I always get these sets confused. I want to say it is Beekeeper. But, I might have overlooked it. Heavy overland sets. I think it's Beekeeper. I'm not sure. No, it's not Beekeeper. Okay. Green Pact. There it is. Gives you max health, health recovery, maximum health. When you have a food buff active for your max health, is increased by 2.5k and health recovery by 250. Health recovery isn't really that big of an important, but it does give us a nice little chunk of health. So you can go Green Pact with Plague Doctor and have a good chunk of health. But Eben is going to provide health to the rest of our group, which can definitely be useful. Another set that you can run is Hatchling Shell, which gives us physical resistance, spell resistance, maximum health. And you gain a damage shield equal to 20% of your max health for 15 seconds every 15 seconds. So as long as you time your ult for the shield, so every 15 seconds you're going to get the shield. So if you go in your ult form right before, at least 2 seconds before your shield would replenish, you'll get a very huge shield from Hatchling Shell. Outside of that, you can go Dawn Guard, or not Dawn Guard, I don't know why I said that, Dragon Guard, because this will reduce the cost of ultimate by 15%, which is very nice. Outside of that, there are other nice little sets that you could use. Like Call the Undertaker was a pretty nice set. If you're not running with a healer, it just applies minor lifesteal. But again, I didn't really find too much use for anything that provides a heal because with our skills, we have plenty of it. Um, and when it comes to pots and stuff, we're using basic tripods. Um, you can go Crown Store, and then longfin pasta with melon sauce is the food that we were using, or I was using throughout the trial and error runs. So skills. The first skill that we're going to use is Pierce Armor. This is your main taunt. You're going to deal some damage, but you're going to taunt the enemy to attack you for 15 seconds. Also flex the enemy with Major Fracture and Major Breach, reducing their physical resistance and spell resistance by 5.2k for 12 seconds. Now, it's going to last for 12 seconds, but the taunt lasts for 15. So try to pierce them every 10 seconds or so. Basically to keep the Major Fracture and the Major Breach up, and also make sure to keep the enemy on you. Heroic Slash. Surprise an enemy, dealing some damage, dealing 4.3k physical damage, and reducing their movement speed by 60% for 4 seconds. Also afflicts the enemy with Minor Maim, reducing their damage done by 15% for 12 seconds. You gain Minor Heroism, granting you 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds for 9 seconds. This will definitely help us build our ultimate back. It's one of the main reasons why we're using it as well. Minor Maim is definitely nice, but we really want the Minor Heroism. Hunger Scythe. Slice into your enemy's life force, dealing 3.1k magic damage. You heal for 7.9k health for the first enemy hit, and additional 2.6k for each additional enemy up to 5 times. After dealing damage, you heal for 1.2k health over every 1 second over 5 seconds. The healing of this ability scales off your max health. So we have, I think unbuffed or no ultimate right now. Not procced in our ultimate. We're at 53. So we're at 53k. So this heal is nutty. I don't know if this shows the heal here, but I've seen this tick for more than what it's saying here. More than 1.2k. So I guess if you have buffs on from the healers and things like that with what's going on, it may be higher than that. But I have definitely seen a higher tick from that than what it is showing. Next ability, Necrotic Potency. Zap the lingering life from fresh corpses, granting you 6 ultimate and healing for 2.3k health every 1 second for 2 seconds per additional corpse. The ability scales off your max health. While slot, your damage taken is reduced by 3%. So it's another ability that is going to give us a nice little heal, and it scales off our max health. And it also allows us to generate ultimate, which is amazing. Definitely helps us keep up our ultimate here that we're using. Plus, while slot, we're reducing our damage taken by 3%, which is why we do not have the. It's not as an equivalent replacement from defensive posture. Let me just go ahead. We would normally be using Absorb Magicka here, and we would mostly be using it for the second ability there. While you have a shield equipped in this ability slot, the amount of damage you can block is increased by 8%, and the cost of blocking is reduced by 8%. But this right here is just a nice little thing to have. Plus, one of our other abilities makes up for not having it equipped. Expunge and Modify. Embrace the power of death, removing up to 2 negative effects from yourself and restoring 515 magicka and stamina for each negative effect removed. While slot, the cost of your abilities are reduced by 3%. Really, you can replace this here, but we have this here for the 3% reduced cost in our abilities. We don't use this a whole lot. The only times I tend to use this is during, I think I used it in Halls of Fabrication on normal there for a moment. I got hit with some poison. I was able to cast this, and it worked similar to it was more of a self-purge for me. Outside of that, I really didn't use this for anything else. That was the one time that I actually did use this. It is mostly there just for the 3% reduced cost in our abilities. Because plus with the Imperial ability, the Imperial passive in itself, we have 3% reduced cost as well. Let's see, where is it? It's right down. Reduce cost of all your abilities by 3%. So with that and this, we're just getting a 6% reduced cost on our front bar. So that's why we have it there. Now the main ultimate that we were using, or that I was using, was Ravenous Goliath. Become a horrific Goliath, increasing your max health by by 30,000 for 20 seconds and immediately restoring 30,000 health. So essentially, when you pop it, you don't need a heal. It'll automatically give you that health that you gain back. While transformed, your live attacks restore 1.2k health. Your fully charged heavy attacks restore 3,000 health. You deal 3.2k damage to nearby enemies every second and heal for that amount. These abilities scale off your max health. So our health shoots up even higher. So we'll show what the tooltip is after we change here in a bit. So, I guess just to show off the abilities a little bit. This is the scythe. You just swing it, hit some enemies in front of you. Outside of that, the other abilities we can't really use unless there's a corpse on the ground. So, now, in a rage, taunt an enemy from a distance to attack you for 15 seconds. A ranged ally targeting the taunt enemy has a 38% chance to activate the Radiant Synergy, dealing 1.7k magic damage to them over 2 seconds, then an additional 5.2k magic damage to them and other nearby enemies. So, this is just a ranged taunt. It gives a nice little synergy for ranged DPS. Blockade a storm. Slam your staff down to create a storm barrier in front of you, dealing 1k shock damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second and setting concussed enemies off balance for 5 seconds. This is basically, we're using it to set the enemies off balance, because that will in turn increase our DPS. Well, the DPS from our DPS, I guess I should say. Now, this is where I'm going to go over a couple of the reason why I'm running Mighty Chudan instead of Lord Warden or anything like that. We are using Silver Leash. You fire a Dawnguard crossbow hook to pull an enemy to you, dealing 3.8k physical damage and reducing movement speed by 40%. Essentially, this is our pull. There is a pull that you get from the Bone Tyrant. It's Beckoning Armor. What this does is it wraps yourself in hardened bone, granting you major resolve and major ward, increase your physical and spell resistance by 5.2k. So we're not running that. So we don't have the ability that will give us major resolve and major ward. So that's why we're running Chudan over that. Plus it gives us a little more max health. While active, enemies that strike you with ranged attacks will be pulled towards you once every 3 seconds. So basically, it's a 3-second cooldown on who can be pulled to you. So that's okay if you just want to use the ability for the pull and you want to stick to the Necromancer class. That is fine. You can use this. You can trade out the monster set for Lord Warden, or you can, if you just want to increase your max health in general, you can go for one piece. I guess it'd be better if I just showed you the sets itself. But you can go for one piece Scoria and one piece Maw of the Infernal, because the one pieces just give you max health. Or you can go for Domahos to give you more max stamina and max magicka. But Maw of the Infernal, one piece gives you max health, and so does Valken Scoria. So you can just one piece of each will give you more max health if you want to stick to that route. Or you can wear Earthgore. It got a nerf this patch, so it heals the lowest enemy. When you heal yourself or an ally that is under 50% health, conjure a pool of quenching blood underneath them, immediately removing all previous enemy placed effects and healing the lowest health friendly target in the area for 34.2k health over 6 seconds. This effect can occur once every 35 seconds. So it's no longer, it was 6 people in the area, now it's just the 1. So you can go Engine Guardian if you wanted to. When you use an ability, you have a 10% chance to summon a Dwemer Automaton to restore 1.2k health, stamina, or magicka to you every 0.5 seconds for 6.5 seconds. Of course, the Lord Warden gives you spell resistance on the 1 piece, 2 piece when you take damage. You have a 50% chance to summon a Shadow Orb for 10 seconds that increases the physical and spell resistance of you and your allies within 8 meters by 3.8k. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. So you can go with Lord Warden, you can go with Bloodswine. Bloodswine would probably be my second choice after Chudan, because what this does, when you take damage, you have a 6% chance to generate 14 ultimate, increase your physical and spell resistance by 6.4k for 6 seconds. So it's going to give us a nice little resistance buff there, but we also gain ultimate back. We have enough heals in our kit that we don't really need Malabeth. I mean, you can also use this one. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it so y'all can't make fun of me. The 1 piece gives you max health, so there is that. When you take damage from a nearby enemy, you summon a Growling Pool of Desecrate Bile for 8 seconds. Enemies in the bile takes 589 disease damage every 1 second, are afflicted with Minor Maim and Minor Defile for 4 seconds, reducing their damage done by 15% and healing received and health recovered by 15%. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. Outside of that, their Stonekeeper would be the last one. This gives us max health, max stamina, max magicka. And when you block an attack, you gain an energy charge, stack up to 1 stack per second. When you gain 6 charges, you release an energy, restoring 5.3k stamina, and magicka and healing for 6k. After releasing the charges, you cannot regain new charges for 14 seconds. So outside of that would pretty much be it for the sets that I would run. If you find yourself lacking in magic and would like more recovery, you can always go one piece Choke-Thorn and one piece Shadow Rend, because the one piece both gives you back magic recovery on those. So those are the monster sets that you can run there. So yeah, so if you don't want to run the Silver Leash and you just want to run Necromancer skills, Beckoning Armor is a chain, plus it gives you major resolve, major ward. So Chudan would be useless, because this gives you major resolve, major ward as well. So, and they do not stack. You cannot stack both of the buffs. So you would basically be wasting your monster set. Now, the next ability is Agony Totem. You summon an an effigy of bone at your feet that gives minor protection to you and your allies for 9.5 seconds, reducing damage taken by 8%. After 2 seconds, the totem installs fear in enemies, holding them in place for 4 seconds. So this is kind of our CC ability. So you can just chain them in, use this, and it CCs them after 2 seconds for 4 seconds. Allies can activate Pure Agony, causing enemies to take 4.1k magic damage over 5 seconds and applying minor vulnerability to them for the duration, increasing their damage taken by 8%. So if you are main tanking a trial, or the off tank is a Necromancer that is using Agony Totem, essentially your healers, your DPS, they do not have to wear anything that gives minor vulnerability. That would essentially for healers and some magic tunes. An Infallible Aether, which gives minor vulnerability on a heavy attack, they can replace that set with something else. So if they're running IA, let's say like a Pet Sword, that's where you'll find it mostly. IA on when it comes to mag DPS, they can replace that with say like Sororias or Burning Spellweave, or just some kind of a DPS set. You know what I mean? For stamina characters, the only set that I can think of off the top of my head right now that would give minor vulnerability would be Scavenging Demise. So they would not really have to run that either. They can switch that set out for something else. And then lastly, well, not lastly, but the last ability before the final ultimate, Spirit Guardian, conjure a ghostly spirit to do your bidding and stay by your side for 16 seconds. The spirit heals you or the lowest health ally around you every 2 seconds, restoring 1.2k health. While active, 10% of the damage you take is transferred to the spirit instead. So this is another reason why, that ability is another reason why we do not have to run the, or another reason why we can get away with not running the defensive posture, or just the posture ability in general. Because yeah, it reduces what we can block by 8%, and the cost of blocking by 8%, but this right here is pretty much that 10% damage is going to be transferred to the spirit instead. And it creates a corpse on death. So it's a nice little thing. So essentially you would just proc that, summon it, and while you're on your front bar, blocking and stuff like that, it's still transferring damage to it. So you don't have to have it double barred like some pets. Now, this ultimate, Renewing Animation, bring your allies back from the brink of death, resurrecting up to 3 allies at the target location. You restore 5.3k magic and stamina for each ally you resurrect. This is not a bad ability to have. This got some. I got some good use out of this, especially in Halls of Fabrication. Just in case the purges didn't go off, or for whatever reason, it was just a little too late, maybe some lag, and some people got killed by the poison. A few of them. Pop this, they come back. 2 or 3 allies, no problem. If it's just one ally that goes down, I would not use it then. But if you kind of have a group that wipes, and you're only left with 4 or 5 people up, that is a good time to use it then. Because when more than half the group is down, that's when you want to use it. If you've got a couple people, you're in a dungeon or something like that, and they go down, you 2 DPS die for whatever reason. Healer goes down trying to res one of them, you can pop this, and essentially you can bring all 3 of them back to life. Or you can bring the 2 DPS up, and the healer does not have to worry about resing. So So with these abilities, Agony Totem looks like this. So as long as they stay in this, and you'll see it. You saw the little shockwave that it sent out. That is, after the 2 seconds, that is basically when they become immobile. And then this is the Spirit. And as you can see, when you bar swap, it stays on your bar. So you do not have to have it double barred. It is there. Let's see. Let's see if it dies. If it dies, I can use one of these abilities. There it goes. So it's going to leave a course on the ground. Proc 4, and then it just kind of gave me a heal. That's it. So, again, there's the scythe. So, with our Colossus, we're at 53k health. So let's go ahead and activate our ultimate. Alright, let's see. I think I do have the ultimate for it, I believe. Okay. Alright, there it goes. That is just cool. So as you can see, our health is 93.8k now. It is massive. Some of our skills here. You heal for 14k health for the first enemy hit, an additional 4.6k for each additional enemy hit, up to 5 times. And you can see it goes down, and now it is 7.9 and 2.6. So it does work wonders. It is. So I was absolutely loving the health tank. But that was just my little twist on the Necromancer. I definitely enjoyed this little setup. If you did too, let me know down in the comments section. So until next time, take care.